Yep. Good evening and welcome to the May 7th regular session of Findlay City Council. We will start this evening's meeting with the roll call, and then we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and stay standing for a moment of silence.
Mr. Ballman.
Here.
Mr. DeArmond.
Here.
Ms. Frischie.
Here.
Mr. Greeno.
Present.
Mr. Hellman.
Here.
Mr. Niemeyer.
Here.
Mr. Palmer.
Here.
Mr. Russell.
Here.
Ms. Warnicki.
Here.
And Mr. Wobser.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse Mr. Wobser.
Yep, thank you. I have a motion to excuse. Second, Mr. Hellman. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor in excusing Mr. Wobser, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? He is excused. Okay, I will entertain a motion to accept the previous city council minutes. Mr. Palmer, second by Mr. Baumann. Any discussion? All those in favor accepting the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? They are accepted. Mr. Russell, do we have any add-ons, replacements, or removals from tonight's agenda?
Yes, sir. Two add-ons, one replacement. Add-on for Resolution 014-2025, no purchase order, and Ordinance 2025-059, Clinton Street Bear Ground purchase. Both of those would be in the legislation section, and a replacement for Ordinance 2025-054. That's our deappropriation item, and it's just a simple change of an account number, and that is also in the legislation. So I move that the two be added and the one be replaced.
Second, Mr. Baumann. Discussion? All those in favor of the items as described, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. They are added, replaced, or removed. Petitions.
Status of the annexation for Northtown condominium villas for the 7.833 acres in Liberty Township. It's now on hold in the city clerk's office.
Questions or comments? Petition to be filed.
Status of the Keller Seifert Enterprises LLC et al. Annexation for 37.906 acres in Allen Township to be zoned as CD condominium. It's in the hold of the council or city clerk's office.
Questions or comments? Petition will be filed, or annexation will be filed.
And the status of the Greenbrier Holdings LTD and Mauer Rentals LLC annexation for 9.166 acres in Liberty Township to be zoned M2 multifamily high density. It is in the city clerk's office.
Questions or comments? Annexation to be filed. We have one oral communication that will be done at the end of the meeting during new business. We have no written communications. We have no utility contractor communications. So we will then go to reports of officers and departments.
Findlay Municipal Court Activities Report for March 2025.
Questions or comments? Report to be filed.
City Planning Commission agenda for April 17th, 2025 and May 8th, 2025, as well as a staff report of April 17th, 2025, May 8th, 2025, and the minutes of March 13th, 2025 and April 17th, 2025.
Questions or comments? Ms. Frischie?
Rob Feitner, question, when we accept these minutes and staff report, does that mean we're affirming it or not? I guess is my question.
Means you're accepting. Guess it means you're accepting it without any questions or changes or any further investigation.
Including the staff report.
Correct.
So I guess I have a question on the staff report for May 8th. It's the one agenda item with that drop yard over by Sugar Beet. We had made requirements that it had to be a paved driveway, and they came back and wanted stone after a year. It sounds like we said no, but now we're looking at allowing for, I don't even know what you call it, ground up concrete.
Mayor?
So just has been done every month for the past couple of years. That's tomorrow's agenda.
Correct.
So they're just making notes, the discussion and then recommendation will come back to council. So council is not affirming the decision of the commission because the commission has
That's-
not yet made a decision.
But that's why I asked, are we affirming this? Because I just think it's odd that we have the staff report with already comments on it, that it appears we're moving forward before
No,
it went.
so that was from the
to
last
staff.
time. Well, and they had come to city planning previously. We made a recommendation. They don't like that. Now they're coming back to us again. So staff, just as always, have their report. There's not a, that's just their report to the planning commission. So just as
Okay.
every month, so you're not accepting that decision because no recommendation to council has yet been made.
Okay, so that was opposite of Rob. So just for the record, I don't agree with that. We need to keep those standards going for business and residential. Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Report to be filed? Or reports, minutes, and agendas to be filed?
Let's see, lost my place, just a second. Yeah. A letter from Chief of Police Matthias regarding insurance payment for a replacement police department vehicle from an accident.
Questions or comments? Ms. Frischie?
And this one's for Rob Martin. Rob, what have we been doing for this officer for the last year? Because didn't it say this accident happened March of '24? What has he been driving?
So it's, our vehicles are not identified or specific to an officer because of the shift work. They come here and report and drive the vehicles. We have additional vehicles in our fleet based on mechanical issues and things like that. This was caught up in an insurance claim for a while. And so we have additional vehicles so we can support the responses as necessary.
So there's no urgency to replace that vehicle, or there is if we have extras?
So as the letter specifies, our maintaining fleet is 21. And what we'd like to do is replace this to maintain the 21 because the replacement schedule for this vehicle that was purchased in 2022 is 4 to 5 years from now. So we'd like to replace it to maintain the current fleet status and not wait 2 to 3 years until its capital replacement schedule is here. So that's why we'd like to maintain the 21, which would be replacing this using the insurance dollars as well as some other dollars.
And it was not in our original capital planning since we knew about this vehicle.
This is additional
That's-
replacement than our scheduled capital plan.
Thank you.
Letter to be filed.
Letter from Service Safety Director Martin regarding proposed adjustment to parking violation fee structure.
Questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
A letter from Service Safety Director Martin regarding Blanchard River soil remediation.
Questions or comments?
Actually
Mr. Russell?
had one on the last letter. Do you want me to do it under old?
Structure for
yeah.
parking? Okay,
Was wondering if that should go to street sidewalks and parking, if it's the will of council.
Yeah, I'm willing to take that up in my committee, street, sidewalk, and parking. So council agrees. Let's do it.
and who's the other members of that committee? Mr. Niemeyer, who else? Yeah, okay, so as long as they all agree that they get together, I got no problem with that. Park,
So you are referring it to street sidewalks and
yes.
park, thank you.
Back to the Blanchard River soil remediation. Did you
I said that, but I don't know if anyone had anything.
No.
No. Do you want her to summarize the next letter since, okay? Service, Blanchard River, any questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
Letter from City Engineer Calb regarding Sherry Street Sanitary Sewer, project number 3565600.
Questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
Letter from City Engineer Calb regarding police dispatch radio base stations.
Questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
Letter from City Engineer Calb regarding Hurd Avenue Sanitary Sewer Replacement, project number 356433300.
Questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
Letter from City Engineer Calb regarding 2025 Annual Sewer and Manhole Lining Program, project number 35650100.
Questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
Letter from City Engineer Calb regarding disaster siren replacement, project number 319411600.
Questions or comments? Ms. Frishy?
How are we coming with that? We've had some malfunctions, and then it sounds like you feel that we need to update all the electrical that wasn't originally planned for. Is that gonna fix what our problem is?
So I'll answer the first part. So Rob will answer about the with the status of them. So pretty much we're putting them up. We were at the beginning of it was figuring that we could use the existing wiring. It didn't look as bad, but as we got into it, it was figured with the contractor talking with it, all the wiring should be replaced. You're putting new poles, new siren heads and all that to replace it. So that was an add-on that we weren't expecting, but after we got into it, we decided with that. So that's what that additional funds is, but that has nothing to do with kind of the functioning of those, where Rob will cover that one.
Segue to that, as they fine-tuned the sirens when they were installed, it's radio frequencies that communicate with our dispatch to the sirens to actually alert them. And fine-tuning those frequencies is where the vendors have been continuing to work and refine that. So the accuracy, it's a very specific frequency, and they've been fine-tuning it. But activation is not an issue. They will work. They are working, and they need to be sounded for whatever emergency, whatever that's determined. They are functioning.
Letter to be filed.
Letter from City Engineer Calb regarding second capital improvement of 2025.
Questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
Letter from Mayor Mern regarding first quarter 2025 de-appropriation of funds.
Questions or comments? Ms. Frishy?
Mayor, I was happy to see we got to our first de-appropriation, but I was surprised the prison jail reduction of 600,000. Were we padded that high? And I was also surprised to see that we decreased our jail costs when it's been constantly increasing.
Yes, so the annual funds that we utilize towards the jail the past 3 or 4 years has been consistent between $400,000 and $500,000. Right before budgets were being submitted to you all, the commissioners notified a number of the judges as well as the sheriff and us that they were considering just closing the jail, pretty much and only making it like a 3-hour hold facility, and then we would have had to transport everybody out of town. Obviously, that would have been a significant cost and problematic for a variety of reasons, but we really didn't have insight into that definitely not happening until after the budget had been submitted, and then we weren't sure what changes were going to be necessary going into this year. So this cuts the budget. About $1.2 million was in the original budget, so this takes that down to $600,000. And as we move, so this gives us plenty of funds to manage throughout the year. And then we received notification February or March from Sheriff Cortez that the daily per diem was also going to be decreasing as he got in and evaluated expenses that was more in line. So that was great because that was a decrease from $112 a day per inmate down to $98 a day per inmate. So I expect that our funds to continue to incarcerate and hold people accountable should be under $500,000.
Thank you.
Letter to be filed.
Letter from Director of Law Feigner regarding bus garage deed via ordinance 2025-55.
Questions or comments? Ms. Frishy?
So are we still using that for storage? I thought we had done an agreement a few years ago with the schools. Are we still using that, or have we vacated that?
We still are using some of the cold storage out there at this point, but we are working to transition away from it because I believe they have a buyer in the near future.
So will we have to demo it? Still wasn't that part of the, I'm going off of memory. It's been a while. Wasn't part of the original.
That was part of the agreement to do that, but it's also, we're not sure, they are not sure if the purchaser is going to want to retain the existing buildings or not. So,
Okay.
to be determined.
Letter to be filed.
Letter from City Engineer Calb regarding Han Greenway Trail Phase 3 PID 117097, project number 319311900.
Questions or comments? Letter to be filed.
City Income Tax Monthly Collections Report for April 2025.
Questions or comments? Mayor?
I would just note that we did have income tax board earlier today, and a number of us receive ongoing reports from Tax Administrator Price on a regular basis. Even though we are down significantly year over year, this is consistent with what she was expecting and anticipating, and we expect that May will have a good uptick, but nothing concerning at this point in time.
Letter or report to be filed.
Letter from Service Safety Director Martin regarding downtown decorations.
Questions or comments? Mayor?
Just to clarify, because I know we'll get questions on this, this is the new snowflakes that were purchased at the end of last year, and then the second portion of them are arriving later this year. So this is just the timing. That was a partnership between the city, DFID, and the Convention and Visitors Bureau and the Community Foundation that all chipped in to cover that. So that's kind of all the funds coming in, and then the city managing that process.
Letter to be filed.
Letter from Mayor Mern regarding key performance indicators for first quarter 2025.
Questions, comments? Report to be filed.
Letter from Service Safety Director Martin regarding utility billings operations report.
Questions or comments? Letter to be filed. Committee reports.
Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom is referred a request to continue discussions from the March 13th, 2025 meeting on the following zoning code items: parking, donation collection boxes, conditional uses such as gas station, car washes, oil change, dollar stores. We recommend adding a size restriction to collection bins, further defining the fee structure and length of the permit for collection bins, consideration of how these regulations affect on-site collection operations such as Salvation Army and Goodwill. Remove pawn shop from proposed 1135.03 and leave in 1305.02, and continue discussions at a future Planning and Zoning Committee meeting.
Mr. Russell.
Move for acceptance of the committee report.
Second, Mr. DeArmond. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the committee report say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The committee report is adopted.
Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom was referred a request to, I lost my place here. To zone parcel number 330001004487, currently situated in Marion Township, hereinafter referred to as the Weaver, 6434 County Road 18 annexation, that is currently in the process of being annexed into the city of Findlay, Ohio limits, to be zoned M2 medium lot residential. We recommend initial zoning as proposed.
Mr. Russell.
Move for acceptance of the committee report.
Second, Mr. Hellman. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting the committee report say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. It is adopted.
Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom is referred a request of parcel number 330000800052, totaling 5.125 acres of land, known as Parcel A, and parcel numbers 330001009345, 330001018295, and 330010002425, totaling 13.035 acres, known as Parcel B, currently situated in Marion Township, hereinafter referred to as the Barfell Hobart Avenue annexation, that is currently in the process of being annexed into the city of Findlay limits. Phil Rooney, Rooney and Ranzow Limited, LTD, agent for the petitioners, is requesting to zone the Barfell portion of the property as R2 medium lot residential and the balance of the property to be zoned as PO Parks and Open Space. We recommend initial zoning as requested.
Mr. DeArmond.
Make a motion to accept the committee report.
Second, Mr. Palmer. Discussion. All those in favor of the committee report say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Committee report is accepted.
The Strategic Planning Committee met on April 21st, 2025 to discuss community branding. We recommend that the mayor continue to define the branding process and the city's involvement.
Mr. Wobser,
Make a motion to approve.
second, Mr. Greeno. Discussion? All those in favor of the committee report say aye. Any opposed, nay? The committee report is adopted.
The Strategic Planning Committee met on April 21st, 2025 to discuss Strategic Planning 2025 priorities. No vote taken. I don't know if we need.
All right, Mr. Wobser.
Do we need to vote?
I didn't know what to do.
No. Rob says no,
Excellent.
but we reported that no vote was taken.
Same thing for the next one. The Strategic Planning Committee met on April 21st, 2025 to discuss strategic planning public idea process. No vote taken.
Okay. Next.
The Strategic Planning Committee met on April 21st, 2025 to discuss the sidewalk program. We recommend to send to the Streets, Sidewalks, and Parking Committee.
Mr. Wobser.
Make a motion to approve this committee
Second,
report.
Mr. Palmer. Discussion? Mayor?
I would just make one quick note that following that, we are working to update the website as we work through whatever process we may want to have. We are adding a specific option on the city website under the report of problem to specifically notify the city of sidewalk areas. As we have done in the past, we then will contact the properties and just let them know. And then depending on the situation and the property, we try to work with folks to get them in compliance or make improvements, especially if it's dangerous. So while we're working through a more defined process and having discussion on that, we are just updating the website process. So more to follow on that.
Other questions? Other questions? Mr. Palmer, that's the second item for your next meeting, so. Okay, legislation, we will start with resolutions.
First reading for add-on resolution 14, 2025. A resolution approving the expenditures made by the auditor's office on the attached list of vouchers which either exceed the purchase order or were incurred without a purchase order exceeding the statutory limit of $3,000, all in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 5705.41D.
Mr. Russell.
This is typically a one reading resolution, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Look at,
Correct.
I move for adoption of resolution 014-2025.
Second, Mr. Hellman. Discussion. Ms. Frishy.
Since this is an add-on and it's two bills, who would like to explain the utility billing, and then the various one obviously speaks for itself.
Mr. Martin.
Not necessarily familiar with them, but the why behind them both clarifies that the POs were closed in error, so then invoices come in, so then we had to work backwards to get POs reestablished in the timing of the invoices.
But
So that's,
what was Small Bill LTD? What were they doing that we thought it was closed out? The other one is not a big deal. Nobody knows what was happening in the utility billing?
isn't that our third-party provider for that actually puts out our bills for us?
Backflow testing?
So,
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the resolution say aye if your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Aye.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman? Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
And Mr. Wobser?
Aye.
The resolution is adopted. Ordinances.
Third reading for ordinance 2025-35, and ordinance appropriating and transferring funds and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Palmer.
Move for adoption of ordinance number 2025-35.
Second, Ms. Warnicki. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the ordinance say aye if your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. DeArmond?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Aye.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Wobser?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Ordinance is adopted.
Third reading for ordinance 2025-36, and ordinance authorizing the mayor, service safety director, and/or city engineer of the city of Findlay, Ohio, to enter into contracts with Arcadis U.S. Incorporated for the Water Master Plan Project Number 357-43400, appropriating funds thereto and declaring an emergency.
Mr. DeArmond.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-036.
Second, Mr. Baumann. Discussion. All those in favor of the ordinance say aye. If your name is called, those opposed, nay.
Ms. Frishy?
Aye.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Wobser?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
And Mr. DeArmond.
Aye.
The ordinance is adopted.
Third reading for ordinance 2025-37, and ordinance appropriating funds and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Greeno.
I'd like to make a motion for ordinance 2025-037.
Second, Mr. Baumann. Discussion. All those in favor of the ordinance say aye. If your name is called, those opposed, nay.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Wobser?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Aye.
The ordinance is adopted.
Third reading for ordinance 2025-39. An ordinance amending municipal code section 505.001 of the codified ordinances of the city of Findlay, Ohio, entitled Definitions.
Mr. Palmer.
Move to adopt ordinance number 2025-039.
Second, Mr. Palmer. Discussion.
But he was the first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say again.
He was
I'll
the
second
first.
it.
I don't know who it was.
Wait, I had Palmer as first. Second, DeArmond.
There you go.
Discussion. All those in favor of the ordinance say aye. If your name is called, those opposed, nay.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Wobser?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Aye.
And Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
The ordinance is adopted.
Third reading for ordinance 2025-40, an ordinance amending municipal code section 505.01 of the codified ordinances of the city of Findlay, Ohio, entitled Dogs and Other Animals Running at Large.
Mr. Baumann.
Move for adoption of ordinance number 2025-040.
Second, Mr. Greeno. Discussion. Here, Mr. Niemeyer.
Well, on both these, I had a couple people ask me, so if this happens again, maybe a fatal something out at Emory Adams, it could be a human being, could be an animal. So what would be the situation with the owner of the animal?
What do you mean by the situation with the owner of the animal?
Well, would there be any penalty to the owner if the dog would happen to, take somebody out, a child, a person?
Well, yeah, well, I mean, that's what this is addressing, is it's increasing the penalty for when a dog running at large causes harm to a person's property or domestic animal.
Right, but what would be the price of that? Somebody, let's say somebody loses a child.
Yeah, I mean, this is changing it from a fine between $0 and $150 automatically to misdemeanor of the fourth degree. It also would allow the court more penalty sanctions such as euthanizing the dog humanely and those sort of things. The owner of the dog would also be civilly liable as well. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's the penalty. Before it was just a minor misdemeanor.
So then the owner of the animal would be subject to a criminal violation?
The owner of the dog that's at large, this would be a criminal charge against them in Findlay Municipal Court.
Mayor.
And I'm not an attorney, but I would also say, obviously, if something as severe as death or maim or different things like that, as you kind of mentioned, that gets into a whole different ballgame above this. That is all sorts of negligence and, involuntary things, I'm sure, that would be above just this. And this just says, hey, there's accountability, and this originally came up, with the horse, because the horse was a domestic horse but was not another dog or cat or human. There was really no significant penalty that went with that. So this increases the penalty, but the courts always have the flexibility, especially in extreme circumstances, to use discretion to increase the circumstances.
Other discussion, Mr. Russell.
Rob Finer, in section 2, that first paragraph says that the first offense is a minor misdemeanor, and that it's a misdemeanor of the 4th degree for subsequent. And that kind of I guess I'm confused as to why it doesn't just go right to 4th degree misdemeanor right off the start.
Okay, to go through this part by part, that section 2, 50501C3A1, you could classify that as a normal dog running at large situation. That could be the happiest dog in the neighborhood just running around the street, got out by accident. What are we going to do? That's going to be a minor misdemeanor. That's the way the law was. And on a second offense, it can be a misdemeanor of the 4th degree. You go down to number 2, that's what was already in place. Again, if it happens, the same thing on the normal situation. The court can order supervision of the dog, primarily by the dog owner, and require training. Number 3 is what is new. So if you read that, that says that if it causes harm to persons, domestic animals, or personal property, they're guilty of a misdemeanor of the 4th degree. That before was a minor misdemeanor. That's where it goes directly to misdemeanor of the 4th degree. And the subsection 4 down there then also includes additional penalties that the court may consider. Doesn't have to, court may consider. Before, the court had nothing that they could do. And just for clarification, this has been a topic between the court and prosecutors and defense attorneys for years. It was unfortunate that discussions of that went round and round and round until we actually had something like this happen, where we said we have to take action now. We can't wait for the state. I have been advised tonight, and I've been watching some law on it. The state of Ohio has some intentions as well, but we don't know how long that's going to take, and there was no sense in the city of Findlay waiting when we have control of our own ordinances.
Long overdue. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of the ordinance say aye if your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Niemeyer,
Aye.
Mr. Palmer,
Aye.
Mr. Russell,
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki,
Aye.
Mr. Wobser,
Aye.
Mr. Ballman,
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond,
Aye.
Ms. Frishy,
Aye.
Mr. Greeno,
Aye.
and Mr. Hellman.
The ordinance is adopted.
Second reading for ordinance 2025-44, an ordinance appropriating funds and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Russell.
Jeremy, what's the timing on this project, as in when can you start? How long do you expect this to take, and availability of whatever parts, materials, generators, whatever that is needed for this? What kind of like the timeline that you're seeing?
So we had the generator, we had the e-housing and all that. So pretty much the gen set is sitting at the water treatment plant right now. Sent out the bid, did not get any bids, so now we're working with contractors. We have Allied lined up to remove the tanks, and then we're working with Ball Industry right now to install that. So we actually are having conversations with them. Allied is moving in the week of the 19th to remove the tank. I want to say the 21st. They're going to start removing the tank on that, do all that kind of stuff. Once we get the funds appropriated and get Vaughn underneath contract, then we'll be able to start doing all the backfill, conduit, concrete, and all that kind of stuff. But with that all being said, kind of the final date that they're going to have is going to be fall of this year, the time we get all the conduit in. Some of the wiring is a couple weeks out before we can get all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be September, October before we can do that. But talking with Vaughn, they're thinking end of October is when they're wanting to have it set, generated, ready to go for a treatment plant to use.
So then with a date of the 21st to start it, this doesn't need immediate attention tonight? or-
No, because we appropriated funds a couple councils ago, and that will cover Allied's costs. So this will be the rest for Vaughn Industries. So it can go till the 20th.
Oh, Ms. Frishy.
So Jeremy, I know when we talked, I thought we couldn't find anybody to take the tank and do it because it wasn't a moneymaker, and I thought we were going to remove the tank ourselves.
So that's what we're pretty much doing. We
Oh.
became the GC
So then
for
what's
the
Allied?
contract. So Allied is the removal company that's
So
going to be
after
doing
we've
it.
taken out.
Yeah, so we contracted directly with someone to remove the tank, and then we're kind of splitting it up ourselves, and we're being the construction manager with it. Instead of someone going else, Vaughn Industries didn't really want to be the full GC because they're electrical, they're not tank removal and all that. So able to do this, we're pretty much taking it underneath our own wing, and we're kind of splitting the work out to make sure it gets done.
So since we became the general on it, so Vaughn originally wasn't interested, and the other one was Mosier, right? Was it
We
Mosier?
worked with, yeah,
So
we
did
got
you
pricing.
go back to them to say?
We got pricing from Mosier, we got pricing from Alveda, and we got pricing from Vaughn, and we worked with them on their pricing and their timelines. With everything, Vaughn was the best fit.
So no additional costs you're predicting, correct? We're gonna
I
be
mean,
good
I
with the
mean, I
number we
can't say
got.
that until we get into it. It's going to be tough. It's that was put back in the 80s. Who knows what the tank looks like, how much over excavation we got to do, what that piping looks like. The price that we have, if everything goes smooth, knock on wood, it should be. But you never know until you start opening up. But we had multiple meetings with Vaughn, Allied, and all them, and we feel very confident with them.
Second reading for ordinance 2025-45, an ordinance appropriating funds and declared an emergency. Second reading for ordinance 2025-46, an ordinance appropriating funds and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Russell.
Mr. Kalb, how often do you have a contractor withdraw their bid?
Well, I've been here for 10 years, and this is the first time I've ever had this happen. So we're going through the process now. The Western Avenue, we're probably going to have to send out the bid because the second place, or however you want to say that, was 40% over the engineer's estimate. We're talking with the second place for the Southwest, the West and Lima one. They're within the price on that. They're able to do that work. So never had it happen, but we'll get through it. We'll make sure we can keep moving on this. It's not going on the same schedule I would like it to have, but it's one of those things that came up. It's unfortunate. It was a newer company that we were going to work with. I've never worked with them before, but talking with them, they have a lot of union workers that went to another job, and they just don't feel confident they can get it done within the time zone, and they didn't want to start off on the wrong foot with us. So I was glad they were up front with us right away.
Is there a bid bond?
Mr. DeArmond.
Sorry.
So there is, but with the second place we have and stuff, we're still able to get the work done. They were upfront and honest with us. They didn't. We haven't signed any contracts or gave them notice of award or anything like that, and it was proceed. So anything like that, they're still they're just the apparent low bidder. So we were going through the process. Luckily, it's still in this process instead of having the contracts already, because that's a bigger headache. So we have ways to mitigate going forward. So we're going to proceed without them.
First reading for ordinance 2025-47, an ordinance appropriating and transferring funds and declaring an emergency. First reading for ordinance 2025
Mr. Wobes.
I'm sorry, I was a little late there. I'd like to make a motion to suspend council's rules and give this ordinance its second and third reading, since it's just moving money for an insurance claim.
You're doing pretty good,
I'm sorry.
Jeff, but you're moving ahead of yourself. We haven't even read that one yet.
No.
47?
47.
Go back to the sanitary sewer.
Are you talking,
Go ahead.
if I may, Councilman Whoops, are you referring to the police vehicle?
Yes.
Uh,
There was an
there is-
appropriation in there for the,
There is insurance money coming back, but then to replace it, there's additional costs that's gonna be asked for. So There's two parts to this.
Understood. Thank you, Rob, for that clarification. You're right. We would never necessarily do that. Do we have a timing issue with this, though, when it comes to purchasing that vehicle and getting it into gear versus the old one that's currently doing business for us?
The other one is totaled at this time. I think if you'd like to, based on formality, let this go for a second reading because you're asking for additional dollars.
Understood.
We're good with that.
I'll withdraw.
Thank you, Mr. Wobser.
First reading for ordinance 2025-48, an ordinance authorizing the mayor, service safety director, and/or city engineer of the city of Findlay, Ohio, to advertise for bids where required and enter into contracts for the replacement of the sanitary sewer on Sherry Street, project number 35652600, appropriating funds thereto, and declared an emergency.
Mr. Palmer.
Hey, Jeremy, can you tell us how bad this sewer line is?
So Cherry Street is going to be paid by our street department, and that's why we did the CCTV on it. It's pretty severely cracked. It's to the point where it's still holding together, but it's not lineable because we don't want to run a root cutter or anything through there anymore. So it's kind of one of those situations we feel better to get it just replaced before we get it paved. And why I was requesting to kind of have this moved along is just because I want to get this done before the paving schedule is done. So the money that I'm appropriating is just to get advertising and stuff so we can get it out to bid.
Mr. Palmer.
Is there any risk of this sewer line leaking anything, or are we not that far degraded with it?
No, it doesn't look that far degraded, but that's, like I said, we don't want to run root cutter or anything through there to jeopardize it anymore.
All right.
Mr. Palmer.
No, go ahead.
Oh, Ms. Frishy.
What are we estimating? I mean, it's not a very long street, so what are we estimating? This is obviously just seeding it.
I'm going to say is about 110,000 estimate.
Oh, Mr. Palmer.
That being said, I move that council's statutory rules be suspended and this ordinance be given its second and third reading.
Second, Mr. Niemeyer. All those in favor of suspension of the rules, say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Palmer,
Aye.
Mr. Russell,
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki,
Aye.
Mr. Wobser,
Aye.
Mr. Ballman,
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond,
Aye.
Ms. Frishy,
Aye.
Mr. Greeno,
Aye.
Mr. Hellman, and Mr. Niemeyer.
Aye.
Rules of council have been suspended, and the clerk will give this ordinance its second and third reading.
Ordinance 2025-48, ordinance 2025-48.
Mr. Wobser.
Make a motion to approve.
Second, Mr. Greeno. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor of the ordinance, say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Russell,
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki,
Aye.
Mr. Wobser,
Aye.
Mr. Ballman,
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond,
Aye.
Ms. Frishy,
Aye.
Mr. Greeno,
Aye.
Mr. Hellman,
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer,
Aye.
and Mr. Palmer.
Aye.
Ordinance is adopted.
First reading for ordinance number 2025-49, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or service safety director of the city of Findlay, Ohio, to purchase 4 new radio-based stations utilized by the city of Findlay Police Central Dispatch, appropriating and transferring funds thereto, and declaring an emergency. First reading for ordinance 2025-50, an ordinance appropriating funds and declaring an emergency. Ordinance number 2025-51, an ordinance appropriating funds and declaring an emergency. First reading for ordinance 2025-52, an ordinance appropriating and transferring funds and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Russell.
A question for Jeremy. For the work that was done, that was done right now at the contractor's expense, and so this is to reimburse them for work they did on a handshake, in essence.
So they've replaced some of the wire with on that they had, but this is replacing the wire, purchasing wire for that. So I would like to move on that since they're here. If there's any additional work they need to do with it, so that way we can get that completed.
Mr. Russell.
Move that council statutory rules be suspended and this ordinance be given its second and third reading.
Second, Mr. Hellman. All those in favor of the suspension of the rules, say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Ms. Warnicki,
Aye.
Mr. Wobser,
Aye.
Mr. Ballman,
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond,
Aye.
Ms. Frishy,
Aye.
Mr. Greeno,
Aye.
Mr. Hellman,
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer,
Aye.
Mr. Palmer,
Aye.
and Mr. Russell.
Aye.
Rules of council have been suspended, and the clerk will give this ordinance its second and third reading.
Ordinance 2025-52, ordinance 2025-52.
Mr. Wobser.
Make a motion to approve.
Second, Mr. Greeno. Further discussion. All those in favor of the ordinance say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Wobser,
Aye.
Mr. Ballman,
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond,
Aye.
Ms. Frishy,
Aye.
Mr. Greeno,
Aye.
Mr. Hellman,
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer,
Aye.
Mr. Palmer,
Aye.
Mr. Russell,
Aye.
and Ms. Warnicki.
The ordinance is adopted.
First reading for ordinance 2025-53, an ordinance authorizing the mayor, service safety director, and/or city engineer of the city of Findlay, Ohio, to advertise for bids where required and enter into contracts for construction of various projects in accordance with the 2025 department equipment list, appropriating and transferring funds for said capital expenditures and declaring an emergency. First reading for ordinance 2025-54, and ordinance de-appropriating funds and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Russell.
Ginger, just so we can make it, that it's a good thing that you're here, we'll ask you one question. Does it make sense to do this tonight? A simple de-appropriation, I mean, from your standpoint.
It's up to you. It makes no difference.
Mr. Wobser.
With that, and I always take Ginger's word on it, I'd like to make a motion we suspend rules and get this de-appropriation back into the general fund. Suspending rules. Mr. President, please.
Mr. Russell.
Second.
All those in favor of suspension of the rules say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Ballman,
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond,
Aye.
Ms. Frishy,
Aye.
Mr. Greeno,
Aye.
Mr. Hellman,
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer,
Aye.
Mr. Palmer,
Aye.
Mr. Russell,
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki,
Aye.
and Mr. Wobser.
Aye.
Rules of council have been suspended, and the clerk will give this ordinance its second and third reading.
Ordinance 2025-54, ordinance 2025-54.
Mr. DeArmond.
Move to approve ordinance 2025-054.
Second, Mr. Baumann. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the ordinance say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. DeArmond,
Aye.
Ms. Frishy,
Aye.
Mr. Greeno,
Aye.
Mr. Hellman,
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer,
Aye.
Mr. Palmer,
Aye.
Mr. Russell,
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki,
Aye.
Mr. Wobser,
Aye.
and Mr. Ballman.
Aye.
Ordinance is adopted.
First reading for ordinance 2025-55, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute the attached deed to reflect the proper transfer of parcel number 610001016736 from the city of Findlay to the Findlay Board of Education and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Russell.
Move that council statutory rules be suspended and this ordinance be given its second and third reading.
Second, Mr. Baumann. All those in favor of the suspension of the rules say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Ms. Frishy,
Aye.
Mr. Greeno,
Aye.
Mr. Hellman,
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer,
Aye.
Mr. Palmer,
Aye.
Mr. Russell,
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki,
Aye.
Mr. Wobser,
Aye.
Mr. Ballman,
Aye.
and Mr. DeArmond.
Aye.
The rules of council have been suspended, and the clerk will give this ordinance its second and third reading.
Ordinance 2025-55, ordinance 2025-55.
Mr. DeArmond.
Move to adopt ordinance 2025-055.
Second, Mr. Hellman. Discussion? All those in favor of the ordinance say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Greeno,
Aye.
Mr. Hellman,
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer,
Aye.
Mr. Palmer,
Aye.
Mr. Russell,
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki,
Aye.
Mr. Wobser,
Aye.
Mr. Ballman,
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond,
Aye.
Ms. Frishy.
Aye.
The ordinance is adopted.
First reading for ordinance 2025-56, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute the attached memorandum of agreement by and between the city of Findlay, Ohio, and the Maumee Watershed Conservancy District and declaring an emergency. First reading for ordinance 2025-57, an ordinance appropriating and transferring funds and declaring an emergency. First reading for ordinance 2025-58, an ordinance appropriating funds and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Russell.
Move that council statutory rules be suspended and this ordinance be given its second and third reading.
Second, Mr. Baumann. All those in favor of the suspension of rules say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Hellman,
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer,
Aye.
Mr. Palmer,
Aye.
Mr. Russell,
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki,
Aye.
Mr. Wobser,
Aye.
Mr. Ballman,
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond,
Aye.
Ms. Frishy,
Aye.
and Mr. Greeno.
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-058.
Second, Mr. Palmer. Discussion? All those in favor of the ordinance say aye if your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Niemeyer.
Aye.
Mr. Palmer.
Aye.
Mr. Russell.
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki.
Aye.
Mr. Wobser.
Aye.
Mr. Ballman.
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond.
Aye.
Ms. Frishy.
Aye.
Mr. Greeno.
Aye.
And Mr. Hellman.
Ordinance is adopted.
First reading for ordinance 2025-59, and ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Findlay, Ohio to enter into a purchase agreement for the acquisition of property located on Clinton Street, Findlay, Ohio, appropriating and transferring funds and declaring an emergency.
Mayor?
Just since this was an add-on, this was consistent with the conversation that we had had a couple months ago in executive session, that this property owner reached out to us and has owned this property. It's a vacant lot currently on the north side of Clinton Court. And so he has agreed to sell it to us at a reasonable price that is consistent with the comparable lots in that area. And we apologize that it was left off the agenda inadvertently. And so wanted to get that in front of you guys for consideration. It does not need any rush at all, but the property owner is aware.
Okay, that concludes our resolutions and ordinance this evening. I commend all of you. That was a pretty large agenda, and we got through that in less than an hour, about 50 minutes to be exact. So we're going to start with old business. How about Mr. Wobser?
Mr. President, I apologize for my tardiness getting here. I got delayed at work.
Yeah, no problem. You were excused. Now you won't be next time. No, you're good. Mayor?
Just, perhaps I missed it, but when I asked the question on the strategic planning committee report, did we actually take a vote after I asked the question? I apologize to jump back. Yeah, the strategic planning committee report right before legislation, you had the motion, you had the second, and I made a quick comment, and I think we didn't take the vote. So I just want to make sure that we got that.
It would have been a voice vote. We voted on two
Right.
of the four.
Right, but
Right?
I don't
The
think
first
we-
and the last. So the last one?
Yeah. So as long as we did, yeah, just to make sure that it's documented properly. Sorry.
No worries.
Correct.
So Wobser made a motion. Palmer seconded. No, she's talking about the fourth item.
Yep, so you just need the simple voice vote to recommend it.
Yep. The street sidewalks, that was when I told Josh at the end, you got a second thing to add to your agenda. So, yes, I would say, but you don't think we took an actual vote.
Right.
So we had a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Thank you for catching that.
No problem.
Any other old business? New business? Mayor?
Things are going great. We covered a lot of material. We'll keep it up for next time.
So this evening, we have one public communication from Ben Otley. Is that close enough? Ben's here to discuss the group health plan for the city of Findlay. He is the consultant with the risk strategies. He's just here for education only, but he'll answer any and all questions. Go ahead. You got 4 minutes.
So, as Mr. President said, I am current consultant.
Is the red light on?
How's that? Is that better? So my name is Ben Otley, and I am the current consultant for the group health insurance and related benefits here at the city of Findlay. And our firm is now Risk Strategies. It was formerly First Insurance Group. And we've been working with the city since 2011. I've been involved with the plan since 2019 and work very, very closely with the auditor's office primarily on the items with that. And we had a meeting yesterday with administration, and went over some things that I thought might be helpful for the council to understand. And there's a couple of handouts there you might reference. First and foremost, wanted to make sure the council's aware that you have the plan that you have for health insurance, health, dental, and vision insurance is a self-funded plan. And you have been self-funded for many, many years on your own. And the plan is well funded and well reserved. And it is what is known as a plug-and-play model. It's a lot of folks, when they think about insurance plans, they think of insurance companies. But with the city of Findlay, you are a self-funded health plan, and you purchase something called stop-loss insurance that covers large risks over, in your case, $150,000. The plug-and-play model allows us to evaluate the different pieces and components of the plan, and we have a list here of what those are. And it starts with something called a plan document summary plan description, which is kind of like the law of the plan. It governs what's covered, how it's covered, and who's eligible for the plan. The named fiduciary of the plan is the city of Findlay. Your vendor third-party administrator is now MedBen. You all authorized a move to MedBen for January 1 of this year, last year, and thank you for your support in that. And they are the vendor who, they basically are the quarterback of the plan. They process the claims, they pay the claims, they administer the plan according to the plan document, and they work with all the other pieces of it to coordinate everything. Your stop loss is currently through on nationwide paper, but it's through an organization called Ryan Specialty, was previously known as Accurist. There's a lot of changes in the insurance world. And those are the individuals that cover the claims over $150,000. And then you have PPO networks that you utilize. There's a local component called the Northwest Ohio Health Partnership. And that is something that's a part of the Blanchard Valley system. You have the Front Path Coalition outside of that area, and then for the balance of Ohio, Front Path is primarily the Toledo service area. And then outside of that, you have Ohio Health Choice. And then there's a couple other providers for other lesser used benefits. Your pharmacy benefit manager is currently MedBen RX, and that again is something you authorized a change to last year, or for this plan year. Specialty drug management is Paid Health. Your virtual office visits, Teladoc, utilization reviews, Hines and Associates, Avande, and Sentinel Air Medical. Subrogation, which is if there's a claim that someone else is responsible for that's been paid by your plan, subrogation goes after that to recover those funds. And when needed, the FIA group is in place for that. And then we are Risk Strategies, the consulting company, and our responsibility is high-level consulting on things like plan design, compliance. We also provide customer service and do like the open enrollment meetings and vendor evaluation. And we bring ideas to the auditor's office. I'm getting close already, okay? Thank you. And then all of that, the other item that's in there is Parsons Risk Strategies, which is not associated with Risk Strategies, is the actuary that makes that does a certification for you annually to certify that you have enough reserves to support the plan. So those are the pieces and components. A plug-and-play model that allows us to evaluate and make incremental changes as we need to do that when we recommend things to the auditor's office, which they've implemented several. The other item is a chart that we've provided that shows you the performance of the plan, and next to the benchmarks that are the closest, which are the State Employee Relations Board benchmarks. It's all the public entities.
I need a motion to extend your time. Mr. Russell, second Mr. Palmer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, there you go.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I
no
told you I was
problem.
gonna be 4 minutes, but here we
You're
go.
22 seconds over.
Thank you.
Practice a little harder next time.
Thank you, I'll do that. But essentially what the chart shows is these are all public entities, and what we're benchmarking you against are the cities in Ohio that have reported into this, and most cities are reporting into it. And what this shows is that the performance of the plan, the way it's been managed in concert with the auditor's office, has outperformed the benchmarks consistently. So you're well managed, and just wanted to provide a little bit of education on that, and I'd be happy to come back at another time if you had other questions, or if you have questions now.
So questions. Ms. Frischie.
I think you're appreciated for giving you a little over 4 minutes. There's been
Thank you.
some city employees, I think, have had a little heartburn on things. I think it was with MedBen. Do we have everybody on page now and understanding that we're following the policy now? And
Yes, yes,
good,
yes.
good.
So that was one of the things we talked about yesterday in our meeting, and what we discovered, quite frankly, is that the previous administrator they were doing some things that were not according to the plan sometimes, and so we're correcting some of those items so that they're being done properly at the moment, and then we're going to evaluate some things as we go forward.
Good.
So thank you.
Good job.
Mr. Hellman.
Who here in the city deals with you or the company risk strategies? Is that the mayor's office or is that human resources?
So actually a little bit of both. So from a high level consulting perspective in the rate setting and the what I would call HIPAA items, those are handled by the auditor's office. And then when it comes to some of the employee relation items, those sometimes go through HR and then come to our employee, Lori Huth, is the primary contact. She's your customer service representative, basically. The employees a lot of times will contact Lori, who will interface with HR, sometimes the auditor's office, and the vendors to get it resolved.
Mr. Russell.
I like the benchmarks. I like where we are compared to our peers. Out of curiosity, if we benchmarked against similar sized private companies instead of governmental entities, how would do you have a gut feeling on how we would compare?
Yeah, many times public entities run a little bit higher than private entities in those areas. Benefits do tend to be richer. It is something we could do. Generally, when we benchmark, we do it against similar organizations.
Mayor.
I appreciate the information. We had a really productive meeting yesterday because we have received a number of calls from employees, and there's been some transition pain that has occurred. Just so you all are aware, our health insurance committee that is made up of employees is meeting next week. So this information that was shared with you tonight has not yet been shared with the employees. The administration just received it yesterday. So we are coordinating with the auditor's office and Ben and the kind of group of team listed on here to present some of that information and work through some of the challenges that our employees are experiencing. So I know a lot of employees watch this, and I apologize that you did not receive this information before it's kind of becoming public information. But we are working through the growing pains, and anytime you have a transition in service, there's challenges, and as we stated, there was some issues with how it was being managed. So we are working through those, and we will also share the presentation that goes to the employees with council so that you guys are aware, and if there are other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Other questions? Thank you for the update.
Thank you.
I'm sure there'll be questions in the future, but we'll let you know.
Thank you.
That concludes the site. I will entertain a motion to Mr. Baumann
Motion, so moved.
to leave.
To go home.
Second? I didn't hear. Mr. DeArmond, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody want to stay around? All right, we're adjourned.